Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Read by Ajwa Ando. The early 60s. Master was a little crazy. He had spent too many years reading books overseas, talked to himself in his office, did not always return greetings, and had too much hair. Ugwu's auntie said this in a low voice as they walked on the path.
"But he is a good man," she added, "and as long as you walk well, you will eat well. You will even eat meat every day."
She stopped to spit. The saliva left her mouth with a sucking sound and landed on the grass. Ugwu did not believe that anybody, not even this master he was going to live with, ate meat every day. He did not disagree with his auntie, though. He had never seen anything like the streets that appeared after they went past the university gates, streets so smooth that he itched to lay his cheek down on them. He would never be able to describe to his sister Anolika how the bungalows were painted the colour of the sky and sat side by side like polite, well-dressed men, how the hedge tops separating them were trimmed so flat they looked like tables wrapped with leaves.
"I told Master, you will learn everything fast, osiso, his auntie said.
Ugwu nodded attentively, although she had already told him this many times, as often as she told him the story of how his good fortune came about. While she was sweeping the corridor in the mathematics department a week ago, she heard Master say that he needed a houseboy to do his cleaning, and she immediately said she could help, speaking before his typist or office messenger could offer to bring someone.
"I will learn fast, Auntie,"
Ugwu said. He was staring at the car in the garage. A strip of metal ran around its blue body like a necklace.
"Remember, what you will answer whenever he calls you is, 'Yes, sir! Yes, sir!'"
Ugwu repeated. They were standing before the glass door. Ugwu held back from reaching out to touch the cement wall, to see how different it would feel from the mud walls of his mother's hut that still bore the faint patterns of moulding fingers. His auntie tapped on the glass. A voice said in English, "Yes, come in." Ugwu had never seen a room so wide. Despite the brown sofas arranged in a semicircle, the side tables between them, the shelves crammed with books, and the centre table with a vase of red and white plastic flowers, the room still seemed to have too much space. Master sat in an armchair, wearing a singlet and a pair of shorts. He was sitting slanted, a book covering his face, as though oblivious that he had just asked people in.
"Good afternoon, sir. This is the child,"
Ugwu's auntie said. Master looked up. His complexion was very dark, like old bark, and the hair that covered his chest and legs was a lustrous, darker shade. He pulled off his glasses. "The child?"
"The houseboy, sir."
"Oh, yes. You have brought the houseboy. Ibota Goya." Master's Igbo felt feathery in Ugwu's ears. It was Igbo coloured by the sliding sounds of English, the Igbo of one who spoke English often.
"He will work hard,"
his auntie said.
"He's a very good boy. Just tell him what he should do. Thanks, sir."
Master grunted in response, watching Ugwu and his auntie with a faintly distracted expression. Ugwu's auntie patted Ugwu's shoulder and left.
"Kedu afagi?"
"What's your name?" Master asked, and sat up straight. He filled the armchair, his thick hair that stood high on his head, his muscled arms, his broad shoulders. Ugwu had imagined an older man, somebody frail, and now he felt a sudden fear that he might not please this master, who looked so youthfully capable, who looked as if he needed nothing.
"Ugwu, sir."
"Ugwu. And you've come from Abuba?"
"From Opi, sir."
"You could be anything from 12 to 30. Master narrowed his eyes. "Probably 13. He said 13 in English.
"Yes, sir."
Master turned back to his book. Ugwu stood there. Master flipped past some pages and looked up.
"Ngwa, go to the kitchen. There should be something you can eat in the fridge. Yes, sir.
Ugwu entered the kitchen cautiously, placing one foot slowly after the other. When he saw the white thing, almost as tall as he was, he knew it was the fridge. His auntie had told him about it. A cold barn, she had said, that kept food from going off. He opened it and gasped as the cool air rushed into his face. Oranges, bread, beer, soft drinks, many things in packets and cans were arranged on different levels, and, at the top, a roasted, shimmering chicken, whole but for a leg. Ugwu reached out and touched the chicken. The fridge breathed heavily in his ears. He touched the chicken again and licked his finger before he yanked the other leg off, eating it until he had only the cracked, sucked pieces of bones left in his hand. Next, he broke off some bread, a chunk that he would have been excited to share with his siblings if a relative had visited and brought it as a gift. He ate quickly, before Master could come in and change his mind. He had finished eating and was standing by the sink, trying to remember what his auntie had told him about opening it, to have water gush out like a spring, when Master walked in.
What is it?
Master asked.
Sir?
Ugwu gestured to the sink. Master came over and turned the metal tap.
You should look around the house and put your bag in the first room on the corridor. I'm going for a walk to clear my head. In Ugwu?
Yes, sir. Ugwu watched him leave through the back door. He was not tall. His walk was brisk, energetic, and he looked like Eziagu, the man who held the wrestling record in Ugwu's village. Ugwu turned off the tap, turned it on again, then off, laughing at the magic of the running water and the chicken and bread that lay balmy in his stomach. He went past the living room and into the corridor. There were books piled on the shelves and tables in 3 bedrooms, on the sink and cabinets in the bathroom, stacked from floor to ceiling in the study, and in the storeroom. Ugwu tried to read the titles, but most were too difficult. Non-Parametric Methods, An African Survey, The Great Chain of Being, The Norman Impact upon England. He was examining the toilet, running his hand over the black plastic seat, when he heard Master's voice.
Where are you, my good man?
He said my good man in English. Ugwu dashed out to the living room.
Yes, sir. What's your name again?
Ugwu, sir.
Yes, Ugwu. Look here, Nyanya. Do you know what that is?
Master pointed, and Ugwu looked at the metal box studded with dangerous-looking knobs.
No, sir,
Ugwu said.
It's a radiogram. It's new and very good. You have to be very careful around it, very careful. You must never let water touch it.
Yes, sir.
I'm off to play tennis, and then I'll go on to the staff club.
Master picked up a few books from the table.
I may be back late, so get settled and have a rest.
Yes, sir. After Ugwu watched Master drive out of the compound, he went and stood beside the radiogram and looked at it carefully, without touching it. Then he walked around the house, touching books and curtains and furniture and plates, and when it got dark, he turned the light on and marvelled at how bright the bulb was, how it did not cast long shadows on the wall like the palm oil lamps back home. Ugwu opened the fridge and ate some more bread and chicken, quickly stuffing the food in his mouth while his heart beat as if he were running. Then he dug out extra chunks of meat and pulled out the wings. He slipped the pieces into his shorts pockets before going to the bedroom. He would keep them until his auntie visited, and he would ask her to give them to Anulika. Perhaps he could ask her to give some to Nnesinachi too. That might make Nnesinachi finally notice him. He had never been sure exactly how he and Nnesinachi were related, but he knew they were from the same Umunna and therefore could never marry. Yet he wished that his mother would not keep referring to Nnesinachi as his sister, saying things like, "Please take this palm oil down to Mama Nnesinachi, and if she is not in, leave it with your sister."